Have you ever heard of Kouign-amann? If you love dessert, keep watching to learn about it, as well as all the other most delicious cookies, pies, and ice cream sundaes across the country. Biting into a cannoli is a transformational experience. South Philadelphia's Termini Brothers Bakery nurtures a deep-rooted local Italian tradition with true cannoli perfection. Traditional Sicilian cannoli feature fresh sheep's milk ricotta and a delicate, fried, pipe-shaped shell that houses a creamy, rich, sweet cheese filling. A multitude of textures sets this dessert apart from any challengers. Termini Brothers captures the magic of the cannoli with a crisp and delicate shell, subtly sweet filling, and intentional timing. Every one of their cannolis is filled on spot to prevent soggy shells and promote that quintessential crunch. If you're outside of Pennsylvania, you can still enjoy Termini Brothers by ordering online. A small package includes 6 cannoli shells and 2 pastry bags with cannoli filling.
And Howard, it looks like they got those cannolis down to a science.
Yes, it is. It's a well-oiled machine here.
Ice cream is one of America's most coveted comfort foods. According to a 2015 study by Yahoo Food, 41% of Americans favor ice cream over all other desserts. Toscanini's, a 40-year-old Boston institution, plays right into that ice cream-loving narrative. Their flavors really push the ice cream limits, with the likes of Kulfi and Fluffernutter. This place even wears the New York Times Badge of Honor for the world's best ice cream with enthusiastic pride. Approaching the shop is a thrill. A large and groovy font adorns large windows, with views of bar-style seating and pastel cups on the other side of the glass. Enthusiastic staff members greet customers, and eager ice cream eaters set up shop with computers and earbuds for an afternoon of work, accompanied by the scent of sweet, cool cream. Toscanini's menu is extensive, but the salty caramel is absolutely the best of the bunch. A silky smooth base, deeply caramelized sweetness, and a salty kiss elevate this variety above all others. With a cheeky name and a well-stocked supply of Maine's official treat, Two Fat Cats is generating nationwide buzz. Shelves squeezed tight with freshly baked pies and other confections have drawn both the Food Network and Cooking Channel to Portland for first-hand access to the Whoopie pie baking process. Whether you frequent either the Portland or South Portland location, the classic Whoopie pie is one of the best desserts in the country. For those unfamiliar, Whoopie pies aren't exactly a pastry-based pie, but are instead more like a sandwich cookie and chocolate cake fusion. The origin of the Whoopie pie is debated between proud Maine and Pennsylvania residents, but both stories testify to the enthusiastic whoopee that ensues after biting into one of these sweet treats.
What is whoopee?
What is whoopie?
If you can't make it all the way to Maine, fear not, as these delightfully large and pillowy chocolate cake domes filled with a light and creamy marshmallow fluff buttercream are available on Gold Belly for nationwide shipping. Tucked between scenic Blue Ridge mountain peaks, Whole Doughnuts is Asheville, North Carolina's resident donut haven. This place plays its cards well, catering to America's well-founded fried dough appetite. We can credit Russian refugee Adolf Levitt for inventing the automated donut machine in 1920 and lighting a flame to the donut craze we can all relish today. Whole Doughnuts sets forth on its dessert journey with a soft yeast dough. Inventive coatings transform the fried dough base with combinations like strawberry and black pepper that allow for plenty of creative decision-making. But it's the cinnamon and sugar variety that really captures the art of simplistic perfection. Every donut is fried to order, So the second you clutch a warm cinnamon sugar donut and bite into the pillowy dough, it's impossible to overlook the dedication to detail. Golden brown and crisp on the outside, these treats aren't the least bit greasy. Hand-cut edges feature eccentric bubbles and nodules to trap beautifully balanced bits of cinnamon and sugar. These carefully thought-out details have whole donuts unsurprisingly boasting a full-on 5-star rating on Yelp. Bold statements are commonplace at Charleston, South Carolina's Peninsula Grill, which is considered the crown jewel of the city's dining scene. Indoor-outdoor flow, towering greenery, and glowing light accents set the stage for a coconut cake at the center of it all. Before dessert, you can feast on a Southern-inspired meal with freshly shucked oysters, seasonal mains, and epic steak cuts, either on the outdoor patio or the intimate dining room. The ultimate coconut cake is the grand finale that has satisfied diners across the country. The Charleston City Paper called it the best slice of heaven, while it's also garnered TV coverage on The Today Show and Good Morning America. The cake itself is a 12-layer centerpiece, with 6 layers each of coconut cake and cream cheese frosting. The toasted coconut-coated outer edge is a teasing tip-off for what's to come on the inside. Weighing in at an extraordinary 12 pounds, the ultimate coconut cake can also arrive right at your door, thanks to nationwide shipping.
A lot of customers will stop and just notice how majestic it is.
The Avalon International Breads operation started small, but their commitment to quality organic ingredients and passionate baking have grown it into a statewide venture throughout Michigan. The bakery began on the backs of friends and family who contributed bread dough dollars to make the place become a reality. 3 Michigan locations supply local carb lovers with pastries, cookies, cakes, and crusty bread loaves for retail and in-house cafe sandwiches. Among all their goodies, the sea salt chocolate chunk cookie reigns supreme, earning the title of Best Cookie in Michigan from Yelp in 2017. A true celebration of sweet and salty, each cookie is golden brown on the outside with bursting smooth chocolate chunks on the inside, and a perfect salty bite at the end. The chocolate chunk cookie is so coveted that the generous Avalon bakery staff share their best dessert offering with locals for special events. Michigan locals can also purchase this top-rated cookie in select Whole Foods market stores, in addition to the 3 bakery locations. Biscuits and pie are an unlikely, yet logical union. Luckily for Chicago locals and visiting tourists, Bang Bang Pie and Biscuits is executing on this extraordinary coalition, and a masterful take on key lime pie is at the epicenter of their pastry-forward menu. Satisfy your savory tooth with sausage biscuit or pot pie before diving headfirst into one of the country's best desserts. An unquestionable Florida staple, key limes are smaller and sweeter than their Persian lime counterparts. But Chicago is serving up one of the country's most poised key lime pie slices, with a lusciously smooth custard, studded with aromatic, freshly grated lime zest, and set in a homemade graham cracker crust. Going the extra mile is paying off, so much so that the key lime pie happens to be Bang Bang Pie and Biscuits' year-round bestseller. As customers interviewed by Insider declared, key lime's my favorite pie in general, and theirs is delicious. And their key lime pie is the best key lime ever.
Bang, bang. Let's do this.
Dominique Ansel's visionary pastry prowess made worldwide headlines when he invented and debuted the cronut. As a result, many bakery goers initially overlooked the mighty Kouign-amann at his New York bakery, a pastry hailing from the Brittany region of France. This masterpiece marries the flaky texture of a croissant and caramelized sweetness of a pommier cookie, teetering between a breakfast pastry and buttery afternoon dessert. The pastry's addictive qualities left Ansel no other choice but to share his original recipe with the cooking channel, so we too can bake our way to flaky and caramelized sugar perfection. The baking process closely mirrors that of croissants, using folds to create layers of butter in between the yeasted dough. Before the final fold, the Kouign-amann strays from its croissant cousin with an added dusting of granulated sugar. Dominique Ansel then carefully shapes the delicate pastries and bakes them in metal rings, with just enough dough overhang to create a caramelized muffin-like top. This caramelized croissant is actually Dominique's #1 best-selling item. If you want one delivered to your front door, order a 4-piece box and taste this little piece of heaven in the comfort of your own home. Located in the city of Homestead, Knaus Berry Farm is a verified food destination for Southern Floridians. Founded as a road stand in 1956, the Knaus family started selling their fresh strawberries to locals, eventually expanding their established reputation to include baked goods as well. For some Knaus Berry Farm visitors, the pick-your-own strawberries play second fiddle to the beautifully sticky cinnamon rolls. The family operation treats the rolls with the same level of care as the strawberry fields. Strawberry season runs from November to April, which means that lines form quickly, though they thankfully move fast. Knaus Berry Farm cinnamon roll is inherently comforting, with a light and fluffy dough and melt-in-your-mouth sticky exterior. They're hefty in size, featuring a hypnotic cinnamon sugar swirl and gooey glaze that caresses the soft dough's twists and turns. You can also order them on Goldbelly if you've got the cinnamon cravings at home.
These ooey gooey, yummy cinnamon rolls here. People have been lining up since dark and early this morning.
The Commander's Palace is a New Orleans dining institution. A cheerful blue exterior greets eager diners, foreshadowing a meal full of genuine whimsy. The historic Garden District location opened way back in 1893, and it's since secured a verified culinary reputation with 7 James Beard Foundation Awards. The menu takes on an identity near and dear to its surroundings. Head chef Meg Bickford uses local inspiration to transform local ingredients into a New Orleans-inspired Oak Creole menu steeped in local history. Gulf shrimp, crawfish, and center-cut steaks take shape as jambalaya, gumbo, and a roasted beet jus bardelaise to accompany seared beef. But it's the reputation of the bread pudding soufflé that travels well beyond this soulful city's epicenter. The Commander's Palace 20-minute build-up and mountainous presentation is a one-of-a-kind Big Easy dining experience. A rich soufflé base of cream, eggs, and warm spices take an airy turn when whipped egg whites and fluffy French bread join the party. The iconic ceramic dish arrives at the table with impressive golden brown height and a personalized tableside warm whiskey sauce pour. A milk and cookie dipping session is a childhood dream. The warm and crispy exterior, touched by a glass of cold milk, always leaves an addictive aftertaste. Atlanta's Joy Cafe is bringing those nostalgic memories back by honing the art of comforting and creative Southern baking. The cookies and milk pie stays true to that narrative and honors the gratifying simplicity of dunking your dessert into a glass of dairy. Executive chef and co-owner Joy Babert took months to perfect the cookies and milk pie recipe, striving to accurately mimic the flavors of a milk-dunked, slightly soft chocolate chip cookie. Every component is made from scratch, starting with the chocolate chip cookies that are dunked in vanilla cream, before the two components merge on top of a graham cracker crust to form a delicious mound. For added curb appeal and texture, the creamy pie top embraces a sprinkling of chocolate chip cookie crumbles. A true labor of love, we can thank Chef Babert for her meticulous process and pie that absolutely holds up to the hype.
You know, Joy's food has no calories, right?
The Latin-inspired menu at Washington, D.C.'s 7 Reasons is a culinary feat led by Venezuelan native Enrique Lamardo. Architectural intrigue guides the entire 7 Reasons dining experience, starting with the restaurant's 3-story arboreal dining room. The plates are visually stunning, informed by Lamardo's industrial design studies and his childhood memories in the kitchen. His creative food style has earned high praise from DC food royalty, with the Washington Post designating 7 Reasons as the #1 restaurant in the city in 2019. The Melting Cloud dessert challenges the thrill of the entire meal that comes before it, holding true to Lamardo's deliciously creative theatrical tendencies. He masterfully recreates the flavors of a lemon coconut pie as he assembles together a lemon custard, almond crumble, limoncello marshmallow, butter cookie sorbet, coconut foam, and finally, a meltable cotton candy encasement that's torched right at the table. The cotton candy cloud collapses under the heat, leaving behind bright flavors and giant smiles. When Giovanni Bolla immigrated to America decades ago, his future tiramisu empire was an unforeseen venture. But when his daughter Isabella suggested that he start a tiramisu business, delivering scrumptious trays of this classic Italian dessert became his new mission. And thus, Giovanni's tiramisu was born. Cut much like a slice of American sheet cake, tiramisu combines layers of espresso-dipped spongy ladyfinger cookies, a lightly sweetened mascarpone cheese cream, and alternating dustings of cocoa powder. The name itself refers to the instant pick-me-up as a result of a little sugar, a little coffee, and sometimes a little alcohol dousing. Simply put, tiramisu is a dessert that satisfies in so many ways. Giovanni's version highlights all of tiramisu's most amazing qualities. The recipe hails from his Piedmont upbringing with 100% Italian imported ingredients, resulting in a concoction that's perfectly caffeinated and not overly sweet. And now, Giovanni is considered the tiramisu delivery man of Los Angeles. The world has been captivated by his passion, as his irresistible tiramisu has earned him praise from the likes of CBS, the Los Angeles Times, and the Kelly Clarkson Show. Lucky Los Angeles and San Fernando Valley residents can also order his tiramisu for doorstep delivery. The rest of us will have to make a trip to the West Coast to experience the magic.
Giovanni's story of love, family, and resilience is baked into his tiramisu.
A classic American steakhouse, Gibsons has been drawing crowds in Chicago since its doors opened back in 1989. Loyal customers are, of course, fans of the corn-fed aged beef served in thick, juicy slabs, but the dessert has also raised more than a few eyebrows. Theatrically named The Meaning of Life, Gibson's towering behemoth of a cake weighs a whopping 6 pounds per slice. Intimidating in its grandiose serving size, The Meaning of Life features 5 layers of decadence. Stacked with chocolate mousse, banana, raspberry, and whipped cream, this enormous treat arrives at the table with a sturdy steak knife plunged in the top. Nobody leaves Gibson's Bar and Steakhouse hungry, and the restaurant certainly manages to do well for itself, as it topped the charts as one of the 50 highest-grossing restaurants in the country in 2018. With huge portions and even bigger flavor, customers come for a prime Angus beef dinner and then find themselves discovering the meaning of life at dessert. If you follow the rocky road all the way to the source, you'll eventually arrive at Fentons Creamery, where for the past 120-plus years, this little ice cream shop has been defining dessert across American history. There's something both wholesome and nostalgic about a retro soda shop serving up handcrafted ice creams, milkshakes, and towering sundae bowls. Fentons is known in particular for its black and tan sundae, which is filled with toasted almond ice cream and creamy Madagascar vanilla, layered in between caramel and chocolate fudge sauce. And it's all topped with toasted almonds, whipped cream, and of course, a cherry. Over their long and storied history of making ice cream in California, Fentons has been featured on the Travel Channel, the History Channel, Food Network, Zagat, and USA Today. Even more impressive, it got the big screen treatment in the classic Pixar movie Up. So, if you're looking for a nostalgic scoop in the Bay Area, be sure to swing by Fentons for a sundae that tastes like a piece of history. Les Madeleines is a cozy little neighborhood bakery in Salt Lake City that's been getting national attention for one of its remarkable pastries. Called the Kouign-amann, it's a lesser-known treat in the United States, but that ought to change. The Kouign-amann bread pudding is both flaky and crunchy. With a gooey, salted caramel glaze, this unassuming phyllo is gaining a cult following. This pastry features dough laminated in salted butter and rolled in sugar. Similar to a croissant, the Kouign-amann has also been known in Europe as the fattiest pastry in the world. Featured on the likes of Best Thing I Ever Ate, Food and Wine, and O Magazine, this little sweet bread is a rising star. As the first bakery west of the Mississippi to offer the French treat, Les Madeleines has been gaining notoriety far outside Utah. Clearly, this old-fashioned Parisian sweet treat has been having quite the moment on the other side of the Atlantic.
Really cool. Can I have some?
Yeah, can I have some?
Yeah, absolutely.
The fact that sticky buns require you to wash their hands immediately after eating them doesn't hamper their desirability. In fact, some messy desserts are enhanced thanks to their chaotic nature. At Boston's Flour Bakery and Café, the buns are extra sticky. So much so that they're actually called sticky buns and are beloved across the country. Sticky buns are brioche dough swirls sprinkled with cinnamon and sugar and topped with chopped pecans. The entire bun is backed in a thick liquid of water, honey, heavy cream, brown sugar, and butter until they become thick and gooey. The end result is one of the most delightfully messy morning treats you'll ever get your sticky hands on. For those who live outside of Boston and want to get gooey, Flour Bakery and Café sells both a frozen sticky bun and a kit for making even more of a mess on your own couch. This way, you can eat them as sloppily as you'd like in the privacy of home. Sweet Lady Jane's Triple Berry Cake is the go-to for special occasions that require a decadent dessert in Los Angeles. With 3 layers of sweet cake covered in whipped cream and decorated in buttercream vines and berries, it looks just as beautiful as it tastes. Many celebrities have celebrated with a Sweet Lady Jane cake, including Oprah Winfrey, who has listed it as one of her favorite things. Additionally, the cake has been covered by the likes of Newsweek, In Style, Country Home, Entertainment Weekly, Access Hollywood, Extra, Los Angeles Magazine, Bon Appetit, the Los Angeles Times, the New York Times, and People Magazine, among others. The operation was started by Jane Lockhart as a small cake business from her home, as she sold her desserts to local restaurants before opening her first bakery in West Hollywood. Customers love Sweet Lady Jane's simple flavor palette and fresh ingredients, all of which are made in-house. If you're looking for a slice that embodies Hollywood glamour and elegance, a triple berry cake at Sweet Lady Jane's is exactly what you need. Inspired by the boxed funfetti birthday cake of our childhoods, Momofuku Milk Bar upgrades the box for a sublime rendition of a time-honored classic. It's a birthday cake that's made some pretty big strides since grade school. No longer baked on a sheet pan and smeared with too sweet canned icing, these Momofuku cakes have serious clout. 3 gourmet tiers are layered with creamy frosting and crunchy crumbs before getting doused in multicolored sprinkles. Known for turning familiar favorites into modern, delectable treats, the Milk Bar has been called one of the most exciting bakeries in the country by Bon Appetit and has been profiled on the Netflix docuseries Chef's Table. The bakery was founded by James Beard Award-winning pastry chef Christina Tosi, whose flagship location in New York has since grown into multiple locations and pop-ups around the country. Currently, even those outside of Milk Bar's major metropolitan locations can enjoy a celebratory cake, as they are currently available by mail delivery. With Momofuku's reach growing and its popularity rising, these confetti box cakes may just become the new regular face of birthday celebrations.
I shall have a birthday cake.
A food combination made in heaven, peanut butter and jelly has recently been taken to new heights never thought possible. At Tartine Manufactory's Cookies and Cream in San Francisco, this nostalgic flavor duo has been transformed into an ice cream pie. The result is a holy marriage of euphoric flavor. Tartine swirls soft-serve vanilla ice cream and blueberry sorbet together in a peanut butter cookie crumb crust, topped with homemade jam, and then they garnish the top with candied roasted peanuts. The combination is so extraordinary that the pie has been featured in numerous publications, and it was even named Bon Appetit's Best Dessert of 2017. You can find this divine creation at Cookies and Cream, the ice cream shop located inside Tartine Manufactory. This restaurant/bakery has also racked up its fair share of accolades outside of the ice cream business. Their breads and pastries have all received rave reviews and are all carefully crafted in small batches daily. While San Francisco has its fair share of decadent ice cream parlors, you'd be hard-pressed to find anything quite like Tartine's PB&J ice cream pie anywhere. It's like a childhood dream come true. When it's hot and humid outside, there's one pie that can always beat the heat. Both tart and sweet, a key lime combines the creamy texture of condensed milk and the refreshing citrus of its signature fruit. Served on a graham cracker crust, there's no better way to experience the tropics of Florida. At Kermit's Key Lime Shop, patrons can get a slice of a perfected pie, topped with homemade whipped cream. Named as one of the 13 best places for key lime pie in Florida by Trips Discover, and one of the 20 best things to do in Key West by Southern Living, Kermit's specializes in everything sweet and key lime. With 2 locations in Key West and 1 in DeLand, Kermit's has expanded their business from a small smoothie stand to shipping pies, juice, sauces, jams, jellies, nuts, and dry mixes nationwide. If you happen to find yourself on the hot streets of Key West looking for a small pie fix, this shop offers its key lime pies by the bar as well. Served as slices on a stick and dipped deep in milk, dark or white chocolate, these delectable treats are perfect for snacking on the go.
No matter the recipe, one bite of this refreshing citrus dessert will put you in the mindset of paradise.
Since it was first introduced, cheesecake has made some great strides in flavor. And one of the best examples of that is Eileen's special cheesecake shop in New York City. If you eat here, you may very well come to believe that the cheesecake has finally achieved its final form of pure deliciousness. Eileen Avezzano has grown her business from a small project out of her apartment to a successful bakery in downtown Manhattan to one of the great destinations in New York for locals and tourists alike. Using her traditional family recipe, her cheesecakes are the perfect combination of light, creamy, sweet, and tangy. Eileen's has been hailed as one of the best cheesecakes in America by Food & Wine and as the best cheesecake in New York by Gotham Magazine. Eileen's cheesecakes come in a variety of flavors and toppings. Served with a fruity compote or cookie crusts, these dessert delights come as a single-order mini cheesecake, 6-inch pie, or 10-inch pie. There are seasonal flavors as well, no matter the season, so you know there's always something special going on at Eileen's. Each cake has hand-pressed crusts, and they're all made in-store, which the bakery takes pride in, advertising that there's nothing factory about our cheesecakes. For those outside the city craving a bite, Eileen's also delivers nationally via their website. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more mashed videos about the best foods around are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.